Righty then. We'll figure it out eventually.
The building we're heading to is accessed through Yuma district.
Yes.
Let's hurry there.
Let's go to the Yuma district. And to do that, we have to go to the map. So let's go to Yuma. I fucking love this game. The investigations take a really long time, but it's so good. Because all the time that I spend with this game is time that I love. I love this game so much so far. And I was honestly really apprehensive coming into it because, given that it's from the creator behind Danganronpa, I didn't know if I would like it as much, but I definitely do. I definitely like it just as much, for different reasons. All the core elements that make up Danganronpa make up this game as well. So, I think it's safe to say that if you're a fan of Danganronpa, you will like this game also. It's kinda hard to not like, it's kinda hard to not enjoy. And before Danganronpa, I never played visual novels, because they had no interest to me. There was no appeal. They held no interest for me. But after being exposed to Danganronpa from my friend, I fucking love the series a lot. I hate it too, but I love it. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. The owner of the mansion made a sizable amount of money through real estate dealings. A man around the age of 30, an endless sea of rumors surrounds him. So, from what I'm understanding, all these people were, like I said before, high-profile people that had a lot of sway on the happenings in the city, I think. And maybe they were all kind of sleazy, and maybe they were all, like, kind of shit people, or something like that.
There's a large mansion beyond the gate over there. I wonder if that's the second crux.
Why is he trying to hop to see over it? You can see through it, you idiot.
Let's go inside.
What, they can just enter it? I was gonna say.
It's closed, as expected.
Just climb the gate.
Are you sure?
Oh my god, she's so sexy. She's so sexy. I love her.
Wait!
Vigilante waifu. Set rope through vent first. Poisoned, then strangled him. Nailed, then climbed up nails to vent. Yeah, see, I was thinking something with the poison too, with the glass. Because it said that the glass had a thin layer of dust, and the only reason the glass would have had a thin layer of dust is if somebody's lips were on it at a given point in time, for the dust to settle around, maybe? Is what I was thinking. So I was kind of in tune with the whole poison idea too. But then I got to thinking, why the strangulation? It's just, it's kind of weird. Like, they would have had to put the rope around the neck to push him through the vent, so yeah, you might be right about that.
I hope there aren't any ghosts around.
So we might share a very similar mental approach to things.
I've been meaning to ask, but aren't you kind of a ghost
Because,
yourself?
like, I'm not a stupid person. Like, despite what my demeanor may be, and despite how I carry myself,
The incident
I'm very
occurred about 3
analytical and I'm
months ago.
very smart.
The victim was
Except
Ali
for when I'm
Holland,
not.
the owner of this mansion.
I can be very dumb, but my analytical skill is usually really good. And I have a very good
He had
pattern
no
of
family and lived
poking
alone.
out where my reasoning
The
doesn't make
mansion is
sense
now
and then
empty
paving
and
over it with
dilapidated.
logic that does.
The crime scene is in the study near the back. Let's go.
And that's why these games are so cool to me. Because I love seeing the little gray areas absent of detail that I've looked over. You know what I mean.
The Nailman killings had another common factor, besides the locked room. The first person to find the body was always the same person.
Right.
That worshiper from church? Do you suspect him too?
Blue-haired motherfucker.
What he said did make sense. He's been obsessed with the Nailman, and had access to the names of potential victims. It's not too surprising for him to be the first on the scene each time.
I guess I shouldn't assume things going into this.
That's right. It's down this hallway. The crime scene is in the room on the right side. There's little time. Let's head straight there.
Okay.
Think you're partners now just because you held hands with my master?
Yes.
I'll have you know, Master and I are connected on a much deeper level.
But I can't hold your hand, Shinigami.
Don't make it sound so suggestive.
I don't know how his body got through the vent.
Feels
was
like
pushed
a jump
through.
scare's coming up.
Oh, but you're saying in line with the poison thing. Well, they could have poisoned the glass ahead of time, just to complicate the scene. That's what I mean. But they would have had to have been sure that he would have been the one to drink the glass, so maybe they looked for a time frame when they were certain that he was in there alone, and was gonna pour himself a drink. And in doing so, they would have had to have known what his favorite drink would be. I think.
Oh, it's open. I wonder if the lock was broken at the time of discovery here,
But it's
too.
too small for him. Well, it said a thin adult could fit through, and there's no way to visibly tell if he's too big for the vent or not. A small body. So I think that supports my theory of it being Base Girl, because she is very slender. And if I'm assuming her to be an adult, and I am, I'm assuming her
There's
to be at
nothing
least
left
like
here
22
either.
or 23
It's all
or
cleaned
something
up.
like that. I think that makes sense that she would be able to fit through it. I don't know about the guy though.
I don't want to
Either
do
way,
it,
it'll be all cleared
but
up later.
I
I think I've
suppose
done
can
my
share
reasoning
my
there.
post-cognition again here.
So I'm gonna
Are you
divert my
sure?
attention to focus on this scene now.
Don't make a big deal out of it.
I
Just
do
make
kind
it
of
quick.
like the idea of investigating different scenes in a serial killing to support one major killing. Like the primary fixation, like the primary focus. I think that's really cool. This has never been done in a Danganronpa before. There's been elements of it with Genocide Jack and stuff like that. But I've never seen it done like this before. All these books are lined up so neatly. They're covered in dust, and nobody's touched them for a long time. Meaning they won't help us with the case. What about in post-cognition?
The crime scene of the murder is vividly brought to life before us. It all happens in silence, as though awakening from an eternal slumber. But the corpse will never wake up again. Even if the corpse did awaken, the nails pinning him down would prevent him from rising. The door is the only entrance and exit to the room. There are no windows and the vent is small. I don't see any escape routes from the locked room.
So no windows, vent is small. We have the door.
Maybe the
but that's
doll
it.
nailed to the wall holds the answer to this bizarre mystery. Yeah,
Even in the past, several books line the shelf. I checked, but it doesn't seem like anything's different between then and now.
I see.
In that case, it's probably not related to the case. Okay, I thought it'd be some Scooby-Doo style shit, but I guess not. What is the significance of this
there's
doll?
only one doll nailed to the wall.
Wait, hold on. The lady in the tower, she was wearing something of the same color, same hair and stuff. But this guy was the second victim, right?
Comparatively, there was a nearly obnoxious number of dolls nailed to the walls in the other crime scenes. Maybe there was no room to nail them to the walls because of all the bookshelves in the way?
I was thinking maybe the number of dolls had to deal with the number of victims that came before.
Wait, this doll has both eyes gouged out.
I see.
Did the culprit do this on purpose? This keeps getting more and more disturbing.
But it's kinda creepy cute. I want to put one next to the top of a staircase so people can run into it at night.
I can't help but feel like that's a reference to something.
Why
And
would
I
you
don't
want
know
to do
what
that?
it is, but I'm loving all the references.
You know,
I'm pretty sure
this doll
that's a
seems made of
reference.
cheaper materials compared to the other ones.
Raggedy
Hey, you're right. Like it's made of resin instead of porcelain.
resin.
The texture looks cheap, but also more durable.
Too bad it doesn't have eyeballs.
The eye holes are connected to each other in the head cavity. It's like that darkness is staring into me. Huh? There's a mark on the edge of the eye holes near the nose. Looks like a string rubbed against it.
String. Oh, I see. He's talking about the yellow. Rope? Why would the eyes be gouged out? To fit the rope through, right?
How did
Well,
this
what's the
mark
point
get
of
here?
that? So the yellow mark is a correlation between all the different murders, right? Like, it seems to take some sort of role in every single one. This doll has its head removed, but that's nothing weird. Okay, so... let me write down... mansion. Rope and eyes. I don't know why or how that would be important. I don't exactly know yet. Maybe something else in the room will give us some sort of context.
Oh!
Landscape paintings and extravagant frames are on display. All these paintings look incredibly expensive.
However,
They're counterfeits. Not a single one is genuine. Doesn't look like there's anything relevant to the case here. Let's investigate elsewhere. Fair enough. It's a carefully organized bookshelf. Looks like all the novels belong to the same series, the Goin Saga.
yeah.
I believe this series has more than 150 volumes. Unfortunately, the author has passed away. It's a shame the story never saw an ending. Okay. Stacked books. Wow.
Oh!
2 extraordinarily thick books are stacked on the desk. These books are in great condition aside from some dust. They look completely
It's
untouched.
me.
He probably wanted to seem knowledgeable. They haven't been moved for a while. They're probably not related. Okay. Let's go into postcard. See what we can do here. That's a lot of crazy shit. Alright. The doll attracts my immediate attention.
Oh!
Several dolls have been nailed to the floor. After the clock tower and the secret club, this makes 3. Doesn't make it any less creepy though.
It's me.
Now's not the time to show fear. Investigate thoroughly and find the clues to solve this case.
I see.
The dolls have nothing in common, and I don't see any unusual markings.
It
either.
appears.
Nothing to do with the case, though. So maybe the tons of dolls are to disguise the evidence of the rope. Because if we're thinking about this, if rope was used in the eyes of this doll, and there was rope on the nails pinning the 2 dolls in the clock tower murder, there wasn't any use of rope on the dolls in the casino murder, maybe because it didn't require it. So I think it's safe to say that it's just a method of disguise and attracting attention away from the detail of the rope being used with the dolls.
Well,
Doesn't look like the books were stacked when the body was found. Peacekeepers must have stacked them. Good grief, what a bunch of amateurs. The placement seems to be the only thing that's changed. I don't think this will help with the case. Okay. Odd detail, though. No indication the books have been moved. I don't think they're related. Okay, so there's a recurring theme in the dolls being the only thing to stand out with each of these post-cognitions. But I still want to investigate to get the points and shit.
That's true.
There are fish in the tank. It doesn't seem like they've been cared for since the owner was killed. They're looking pretty bad. Inside the tank, some kind of secret passage
yeah.
would be interesting. It doesn't appear to be related to the case. I see. Well, if we're thinking about this being a mansion, is there a doll anywhere near that has anything weird? There's a huge tank here, but there aren't any fish inside. Living things can't be seen through post-cognition. It doesn't have that ability. Okay. That doesn't seem to be anything important. Projector. The projector is installed in the center of the bookcase. It wasn't on when the corpse was found. You'll never reach it, Master. I'll check it out for you. Well, did you find anything unusual? Nope, everything is extremely usual and unrelated to the case. Ready then. Lamp. What about the lamp?
Oh!
The lamp's light is pointed at the table. It probably wasn't turned on at the time. I don't see anything sus. It doesn't seem like the lamp is related to the case. What about switch? That might be though. There's a switch for the projector on the desk. Looks like it was set to off when the corpse was found. Okay. But that doesn't appear to be anything important. So there's no dolls with any interesting qualities about them. Okay, let's release post-cog and examine these two things again.
That's right!
There's a projector installed in the center of the bookcase. I'd like to take a look, but I can't reach it. Hollera, could you please take a look around the projector?
Very well.
Sure, give me a moment. The projector's pretty dusty. It doesn't seem to have been used since before the incident. So it's probably got nothing to do with the case then. Okay. What about the switch? In the lamp. Okay. Okay, that might do something.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to go examine the wall and post-cog again.
Say,
Make sure to use proper lighting in addition to these kinds of lighting, as eye strain may occur. What are you talking to, Shinigami? She's just being a fourth wall breaking little shit as usual. Okay, let's check the painting. That seems like it might be important now. Let's go into post-cog and see what happens. Oh yeah, okay, the paintings are definitely fucked up. Okay.
What does that mean?
There's an expensive looking landscape painting, but it's tilted. I wonder why. Could this be related to the locked room?
It appears.
Doubtful. Judging by the marks on the wall, I'd say this painting was hung at an angle. The peacekeepers must have altered it by mistake during their investigation. How confusing. Okay. So that didn't yield anything super important, but we're still not done here. Because I don't have the option to end the investigation yet. So why would that be the case? Because I never examined the fucking body. I examined everything but the body.
The victim is a well-built man, approximately 30 years old. The corpse here is also covered in nails. His appendages and chest are all nailed to the floor.
The owner of this mansion made his fortune in real estate from an early age. But along with aggressive land sharking and other illicit transactions, he made shady deals with Amaterasu Corp.
Yeah, it sounds like she definitely doesn't like dirty money,
There
just
are
like I
several
thought.
reasons he'd be hated. A doll with his name on it was bound to be nailed in the church forest.
I
Okay.
wonder how the person who cursed him feels. Now
So
that
there's
he's actually
definitely a
dead.
similar motive. So we understand the motive, we just don't know the context to it. But they're definitely going after wealthy people.
Perhaps they feel no responsibility. They just hopped on the urban legend
So who the
bandwagon.
fuck would the lady be in the clock tower? She has to be somebody important.
Is that really the case?
But who?
Wait.
Maybe a
This
proprietress?
is odd.
did you find something?
Look closely. The length of the nails driven into the corpse are all slightly different.
Slightly different.
The length isn't the problem here. It's how hard they were hammered in.
What do you mean?
Okay, so these weren't hammered in very hard, so maybe this one did have an element of time.
The nails driven into the lower torso went through the body and into the floor. But the
Right.
nails in the upper torso did not penetrate all the way through the body.
But why would the culprit not hammer the nails in as hard on the upper body?
That's not the only unnatural thing. Take a look at the blood.
Take a look at the blood. What about the blood?
The nail wounds on the lower torso appear to be bleeding sideways.
That's true, they're not bleeding downward with gravitational
But
influence.
the upper torso wounds are bleeding vertically
Right.
down toward his waist.
Interesting.
The blood flows differently between the upper and lower body?
Maybe Maybe the upper and lower torsos are different people, and they were smushed together after death.
No, I don't think that's it.
That's disturbing.
Okay, so what I'm thinking here is that maybe he was suspended sideways at first. So the blood dripped downward from the leg wounds, like to the side. And then he was pinned to the floor in the upper body. Or... No, okay, alright, so maybe the nails were driven into his chest while he was standing up. And then he was suspended, so the blood drips would be different with the legs. Because if the nails were driven at different times, at different positions of the body, right, that would indicate that the different nailings occurred at different times. I think. But he was suspended by the neck again. So if he was suspended by the neck again,
strangulation as well.
then that would support the blood dripping downward. Because if he was, like, okay, if he was roped by the neck and he was hanging upside down, then the blood would be dripping up his body from the way he is positioned now, right?
And like the others, there are rope marks around the neck and traces of a struggle. Oh, but on a closer look, there's a mark left by a thin string on the back of his neck.
A mark left by a thin string. What would that be?
It couldn't have been the rope that was used to strangle him.
No, it's something
The
else.
thickness is completely different.
There are two different types of string marks on the body. Was he strangled twice? But even then, it'd be odd to only have marks behind his neck. And why do the strings have different thicknesses?
Anyway, it's an important piece of evidence.
Maybe it's something to... Okay, so here's my running theory now. If the main rope was used around his neck, and that rope was used... They're not at perpendicular angles, but they're not at level angles either. So maybe the rope was offset to angle his body differently, for the blood to drip in a different way. But what would have been thin enough? I don't... This one is kind of weird. Like, this one is hard to understand. Nothing in this room moved. The room is
Sit down,
completely
right here.
pristine. What the fuck would the rope have been used for? Not the main rope. I mean the second rope. I'm thinking the main rope would have been used just to match the rest of the bodies, but what the fuck is the deal with the other rope? Oh. That might have something
There's a
to do
vent,
with it.
but it's too small for a person to fit through. And it's
Right.
also screwed shut from the inside.
But it's wide enough
seems
easily
impossible
for
to
rope to
remove.
be moved through, for sure. Absolutely.
Oh, what's this now? Master, I discovered something. There
Is
are
it rope
marks in the
markings?
gap between the fence, like something scraped against it.
It's markings for the main rope, isn't it?
Really?
But given your height, you couldn't see it even if you stood on a chair.
Halara, can you use that chair to peek into the vent?
I will do so for 10,000 Shin.
You're charging me for it?
I jest.
Yuma just wants an
The
excuse to
marks in
look
the
up her
vent seem
jacket.
to be left by strings rubbing against it.
Strings, not rope. Strings.
Did someone hitch a string to it or something?
Thin string, and then tying the end of the string around the person's neck would leave a marking. But how did they get the body to be sideways?
It shouldn't even be visible from your perspective.
Because I don't
I'm
think you
surprised
could
you
prop
noticed.
a body angled.
Oh, it was just a hunch.
See? See?
I don't think that would be possible.
I do way more than just float around. You should give me 10,000 yen as a reward.
I'm getting a headache.
Yeah, me too. The vent is too small for a person to enter or exit. There's evidence that a string or something similar scraped against the gap in it. Okay. I'm not understanding the physical properties of this tank though. So if they would have closed the door and let's say stood on a chair, right? They could hold the body and make the blood drip in a different way if they were to use this vent for support, for the one angle for the other side of the body, right?
This is...
The door to the study, we left it open just in case. It's always good to be wary of sudden attacks. Never let your guard down. Right, got it.
I'll...
It's because of the teaching of yours truly. You're welcome, Master. Okay. So let's go to Post-Cog and let's see what we can uncover here. Okay, the door was here. So if the door was positioned here at the time of the murder, right? There's nothing else.
The door here can only be locked with a key.
Can only be
However,
locked with a key.
there is
Also
only the
have
master key.
No spares exist.
No spares exist. The scenario resembles the locked room mystery in the casino.
Right.
We can disregard the possibility of a duplicate key. The master key was found in this room at the time of discovery.
This is also similar to the locked room mystery in the secret club.
Okay, so where's the key then? Because what they could have done is they could have locked the door from the outside and then threw the key through the vent.
But there
up
is
top.
one difference. The key was found underneath the corpse.
Key was found underneath the corpse. Okay.
Under the corpse?
How?
But we can't move the corpse in the past,
you know what?
so we can't confirm if that's true.
You know what would be possible? If they tied the key to the string that they used to strangle the guy and had the key dangling from behind him and then pinned his body down on top of the key.
Post-cognition isn't all-powerful, but it's a fact that the key was found under the corpse.
Okay.
I have a crime scene photo, taken back then, in my jacket pocket. No
Okay.
detail has slipped past my efforts.
I'm thinking that's accurate. I think the key being tied to the string and left
Right.
under the body makes sense.
Huh? What's this?
Wait, not that one. I meant the other photo. This one's unrelated to the case.
I love her so much.
Oh, this is it.
I love her so
Right.
much.
The key's near the middle of his back.
So if the key's in the middle of his back and they had to have enough length of string to tie around his neck, I think it's safe to say that the key would be slightly below where his neck meets.
But can this photo be trusted? Could it be something that peacekeepers fabricated?
The peacekeepers
No, I don't
acknowledged
think
the
so.
incident occurred in a locked room. Besides,
There's no need for fabrication, and if it took place in a locked room, it would definitely involve some shenanigans with the key, for absolute
After
sure.
all, it would be more convenient for them to have fewer mysteries to deal with.
And it's not to be
That's
looked
true.
over that the string
Sorry
was
for being
involved with
doubtful.
the strangulation of the person.
No, that's expected of a detective. You're starting to figure out how to do your job.
So I think the key being used to strangle, like the guy, being tied to the
Was
string makes
that
sense,
a
like the key.
compliment?
Is that really all it takes to please you?
Also, I drew a sketch of the room's state on the back of that photo. Remember it well.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, so that's the door. What's the circled part? Okay, so the body's there, the desk is there, so if we're walking into the room, it's to the left of the desk.
Why a sketch? How can it help solve the mystery?
Well, it's obviously gonna come into play later. I don't know how or why, but I think it's safe to assume it will.
Also, What was with that cat photo anyway? That's surprisingly cute.
Also, I have a running idea. Okay. Let me back out of this so I can, like, put it into perspective.
Looks like there's nothing left to check.
It's a-okay for the investigation here. Okay. So, if you were to be standing on the desk, right? And you were to be holding one end of the rope, and you were to have draped the rope through here as well, one could assume that you would be able to strangle a body by hovering it mid-air here. That would make sense as to how the key ends up underneath the corpse, with the rope being tied to the back of the victim's neck, whatever, with the string. That would make sense for the rope markings on the neck of the victim. And if you're creating a locked room, you could easily close this door, unlock it from, or lock it from the outside, and create the locked room that way. Wait, hold on. Yeah, you'd have to lock the room first. How would that work? Hold on. It's a good theory, but I think there's a hole in it. How could you get the key to be on the victim and lock the door? Unless you do it already, so you do it in advance. You put the key on the victim's neck, right? Like, you put the key here. No, because how would the key end up back in the room? Fuck, that doesn't make sense. I'm trying to figure out how this could happen. So... I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much on this. Because, okay, like, let's say we were to be the culprit, right? Let's say we come out here and we lock the door. How are we getting the key back in here, under the victim? That would have had to have been the last thing we did, and we would have had to have locked the door after we did the key here. It's safe to say there was no duplicate key. Because if you were to pull the key through the vent of the door, then you would have been stuck in the room. So if we're proposing that the culprit put the string around the vent, used that to leverage the victim and suspend them in midair, came over here, stood on the desk, held the other end of the rope to keep him suspended to create the burn mark from the rope, and the mark from the wire, or whatever, how did the key end up under the victim? Like, I thought I had this mapped out, but I don't think I do. Quite. Very, very curious. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave this one alone for now and take an L there, but, like, I think I'm right. I just don't know the specifics that make it possible.
Now we've got
Maybe I'm missing a detail. Maybe I'm skipping
Though it
over
appears
something.
complicated at first glance, the answer is simple.
Although, hold on. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe they put the key on the string, and then bound the string to the door, and then slid the key down to end up under the body, and then undid the wire, and then the body fell and landed on top of the key. But the key was tied to the victim. Or the key was under the victim, right? That makes sense. You could lock the door from the outside. Theoretically, you could lock the door from the outside, put the key on the string, and slide the key down the string. I think.
Halara,
Down
did
the
you
wire.
already solve the locked room mystery?
What? You haven't?
There's no way to solve it with what we have. How was the room locked?
It's unfit for one detective to ask another that question. For the sake of your own pride, you must figure it out. Unless you'd like to hire me to do it for you. It won't come cheap.
I think I got this one in the bag also.
I'll figure it out myself.
I think I got this one in the bag too.
It's really all about the money with Halara.
The longer I'm with Halara, the deeper into debt I'll get. It's starting to scare me.
Now, Let us be swift.
It's okay. She can be our sugar
Next
mommy.
up is our last crime scene.
It's fine. She can be our sugar mommy.
Wait!
I think I got that one pretty on the nose too. Okay. So let's say you strangle the victim, nail the body, yada yada, right? You leave the room, you lock the door, you use the wire that you assembled and affixed to the rafter. Premature, right? So you tie the end here, you strangle the body, or whatever. Like, you use the key, then tie the thing here, slide the key down the rope, the body falls. So maybe the suspension here is unnecessary. So maybe it was just a simple strangulation on this one with the regular rope, and then the wire was used solely for the key. That's possible. I think that's it. I'm not super sure, but I think that's it. I think that makes sense.
The next one is the art gallery in Yuma district. We're running low on time, so we must hurry.
Right. The chief's in danger after all.
Well, he can wait until I get my detective